All right. We are back for Roundtable Ravens episode number 29. I took a little bit of time off. I am fresh off an anniversary and engagement. We don't need to get into that, but it happened. It is what it is. We're moving right along here. So I need a little bit of time off, but we're back. Training camp is almost here, 2 weeks-ish from all the teams. And we're going to be kind of going over some roster stuff for each team, starting with the Ravens and a few positions here. We're going to jump into the quarterback situation, the running back situation, and the wide receiver situation. Obviously, we are very understanding about what the quarterback situation is. We don't really need to go too much into that aspect of it, but everything else is kind of, there's some big questions there. That being said, please, if you guys like what you hear, do me a favor, go like and subscribe and share. And also in the description of this video will be the official Roundtable Ravens website. Please go there, join it. Free to create an account. You can comment and like all of our posts there, all of our articles. This podcast lives on YouTube, but it also lives there as well. It really helps us out with exposure and all that good stuff. We've been getting a lot of great attention on the Ravens podcast. So I'm assuming people like it. Please keep listening because it's been a lot of fun to talk about the Ravens for this amount of time. I think we started in
like December, I think.
December? Yeah. So
like
it's been going well. Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
I mean, obviously, starting mid-playoffs is kind of odd, but now we're in the nitty-gritty of it. That being said, let's just jump right into it. Starting with the quarterbacks. Again, we don't really need to get too much into what's going on there quarterback-wise, except for the third-string quarterback situation, which is very curious to me. That being said, we are well established that Lamar Jackson is the leading man in the room. We know this. There's not going to be a change anytime soon. We've had our conversations about what may or may not happen with this contract down the line, but suffice it to say, everything's A-okay in that department right now. That being said, we got Snoop Huntley in that second spot. He's not also going anywhere because the man knows the offense. He bailed the team out, nearly bailed them out in a way that they could have gone to the playoffs in 2025. Did not happen. But this is where things get a little tricky here moving forward. That being said, the team did bring in Skylar Thompson, and they also have Diego Pavia and Joe Fagnano, who are the third string options. So we got Joe Fagnano and we got Diego Pavia, who are going to be having a tougher time making the 53-man roster if they do at all, because usually the case is you have three quarterbacks heading into the regular season. You have your starter, your backup, and then your third emergency quarterback who usually leads the practice squad. That being said, I firmly believe that Diego Pavia and Joe Fagnano have no chance with Skylar Thompson being in the building. That is why they brought him in. He tore it up in preseason with the Steelers in 2025. He did not get the backup job. That went to Mason Rudolph, but I still believe that he has the qualities to kind of be a backup quarterback. That being said, if the Ravens do end up keeping him on the roster, the other two will kind of be S out of luck. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my view of it. How it usually goes in Baltimore is Lamar, Snoop underneath him because he's the only backup to Lamar. He's the best, the closest thing in that scheme. In schemes in the previous years, we don't actually know because we don't know what Jesse Minter's schemes look like. But I think, and then, they have a third, and it's usually a veteran quarterback who's been around. And I can't see that job going to a rookie, especially an undrafted rookie, because that's, unless they really dazzle in training camp, they really get, but I just don't think that they're going to get the opportunity to do that. Lamar's running the show, Snoop's right there. And as we've said, really, if Lamar goes down, there's not much room for this team to really do anything outside. It's Lamar's offense, it's Lamar's team. Some quarterbacks you can afford to go down and just chuck a veteran in there and they get it done. But I just don't think that that's going to be the case for the Ravens this year.
No, it definitely won't be. And yeah, again, we talked about this before when the Ravens did sign Diego Pavia, because obviously the controversies that he's had off the field after losing the Heisman Trophy and just kind of digging himself into a hole with the things that he said and his behaviors. That being said, he can still put himself in a better position by just showing up and balling out in training camp and just doing well. So then maybe another team's going to go and put him on their practice squad. Will it be the Ravens? Probably not, but it could be another team. So I think this is the time for him to kind of turn things around for himself and shake off that public persona of everything that's happened since the Heisman fiasco stuff. But is what it is.
Yeah, the QB3 position is really the one to look at, really. I mean, like you said, James, they have three options. Pavia's, I mean, I think the Ravens are just kind of being kind to him, which is kind of rare, just considering like what he's kind of been through in these past couple months, the position he put himself in as well, which is nice. I mean, everyone deserves a kind of second chance, right? If you want to call it that with Diego, but he's most likely gonna land somewhere else, or if not, maybe in a different league, maybe. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at a guy like Skylar Thompson, who has some experience there, who played in a playoff game. James, you're very familiar with that. But yeah, I mean, he's one that could certainly emerge. I think he's certainly the front runner as well. But we still got to see how things play out. You never know how things could play out in training camp, who could emerge and whatnot, who can make a name for themselves. But yeah, it's clearly obviously Lamar, QB1, arguably the best quarterback in the league, and then you have a guy like Snoop Huntley, which is great, which is an awesome nickname. Clearly, Lamar feels very, very comfortable with him, and although this is going to be a different type of offense with Doyle running the show, clearly Lamar feels very comfortable with him, and Huntley feels very comfortable with the Ravens organization, which is all you could ask for. If worst comes to worst with Lamar, then you have a guy like Huntley who could step in and kind of keep the Ravens above water.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you just brought up too, I didn't even mention that, but Skylar Thompson's been around the block. You know what I mean? He's been with the Dolphins, been with the Steelers. Like, he knows how to play the ball. And that's not to say that Diego Pavia or Joe Fagnano cannot. It's just when you're an undrafted free agent, it's already tough to get on the 53-man roster because you're up against the other guys that were drafted and/or veterans. And then on top of that, like, you know what I mean? Like, there needs to be insurances with the Ravens, and their number one insurance is Snoop Huntley. Additionally, they need that veteran behind that, which would be Skylar Thompson. So obviously, OTAs and minicamp happened. They brought in Diego Pavia and Joe Fagnano later on. They brought in Skylar Thompson later on comparative to them. So that doesn't really shine a great light in the sense that they were going to be around. But like you just said, buddy, we don't know. Things can happen in training camp. But as it stands right now, you're probably going to end up going into the regular season with 3 proven veterans.
Yep.
Yeah. Moving right along, we got the running back room, which, again, the top, we know who it is. It's always going to be the top guy. That's Derrick Henry, the guy that seems to defy all laws of physics when it comes to age in football. And oddly enough, we did write an article about it, and I'll just briefly bring it up. He was ranked number 6 in the league in terms of being running back, top 10 running back, which is absurd to me for so many different reasons. But we don't need to get into that. We'll just say Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry. That's why I call him, King Henry. He's, again, one of the best power runners in the entire league, if not the best power runner. He's the man at top. He's going to get, in my opinion, probably get even more chances than he did in 2025 because for some very weird reason, they kept putting in Keaton Mitchell. No offense to Keaton Mitchell, but it was just at odd times when Derrick Henry was running his butt off. So that being said, Derrick Henry's at the top. We know this. But then you got kind of the backup, Justice Hill. He's there. He had some success, a little bit there. 262 yards, 3 touchdowns. Not bad. Only 10 games. We got Rasheen Ali, who is the return man. Will probably still be the return man. Then you got the owner picked Adam Randall, which we do not know what this kid can do. He is a wide receiver that turned into a running back, and that was personally drafted by Steve Bisciotti, which, again, love that story. It's the first time he's ever got involved in the draft. We'll see. I don't really know what can come of this. Then you got Elijah Tolliver and then Dante McMillan. Both are undrafted free agents. So, you got some promise there in the running back room. We obviously know that Henry's going to be the main guy. He's going to be the bell cow back as he always is. Beyond that, I don't know. Honestly, I think I'm kind of really curious to see how well Adam Randall can play. And can he push himself in to that rotational backup spot? Because I Justice Hill is Justice Hill, but I I don't know. He didn't really do a whole lot. You know what I mean? 10 games. I know injuries, we can get into all that. But I'm
We
just
didn't talk about
saying,
the 2025 season. It's not a real season in the
we
Ravens
have to talk
history.
about it, all right? It happened. We can't just
But
skip
don't
past
make
it.
that his like
I know.
benchmark.
I'm not. Look, it's the most recent relevant one. It's not a really good benchmark for the Ravens in general. We know that. I'm just saying it happened. We know what happened. But and as far as competition wise, I think this is one of the biggest competitions in terms of like that third spot. Who's going to be in that third spot rather, and who's going to be in that second spot? Because, I'm not saying that Adam Randall can outwork Justice Hill by any means, but what if?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same situation with Lamar and Snoop, really, isn't it? It's Derrick Henry. He's running the show. He's the guy. You're always going to give the ball to him if he's available. No one wants to know what was going on in Todd Monken's mind when every time he just, is plowing the field and then suddenly stops. I hope that that trend ends now because for Derrick Henry's own sake, it's not great. It's not what he wants to be doing. He doesn't want to be sat on the sideline watching Hill and once upon a time Keaton Mitchell taking rotations for it. There's no need. So I think Justice Hill is going to have more of a role this year, to be honest, because of that. There was always a switch between him and Mitchell, and then there's always been someone just above Justice, but now Justice is kind of the second guy. He is the guy in, but again, when you're performing behind Derrick Henry, you're not going to be the one that's up there and really noticeable. I agree with you. I think that Ali does come in and sometimes, makes an impact. So they might choose to use him, especially because LaJohntay Wester is also a return guy. They might just find in Declan Doyle's scheme, in Jesse Minter's scheme, that he fits in better. We don't know just yet what that is going to look like. So he might do, but I think that Steve Bisciotti's going to want to see some payoff for his pick. And I think we're definitely going to see Adam Randall get some game action. I think it will be based on how he performs in preseason, when he really gets on the field with other, NFL players from other teams. But I'm excited. I love to see a little breakout moment during preseason, and I think that we might get to see that with Randall.
Real quick, Ali had 25.4 return yards on average. So I'm just saying I highly doubt he's going to get replaced because that's pretty good.
No, not replaced, but we don't know what his purpose could end up being. So they might just see something. They might just unlock something in him in that running back position. So we don't know yet. That was the Harbaugh era. The Harbaugh era is dead now.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Baltimore, at least, it's alive and well in New York.
Without a doubt, yeah, and obviously we saw that in free agency with Harbaugh picking off every Raven one by one. But
they're gone.
Yeah,
they're gone.
But in terms of the running backs, yeah, like a couple weeks ago when we kind of touched on this topic, I kind of brought up Randall and Ali, right? Like who's gonna emerge as a RB3, and do they have a chance to maybe kind of replace Justice Hill in that RB2? I mean, maybe we'll see. I mean. I would be shocked if Randall doesn't get more opportunities that maybe a certain rookie doesn't because he was the owner's pick, right? I mean, that's probably a given, but we'll see how maybe Doyle, maybe he likes him, maybe he doesn't. That's kind of wait and see basis, but that's really one of the things that I'm looking for in a couple weeks when training camp starts back up. But yeah, I mean, it's clearly Henry's backfield. It's all going to be on him. Like, could he be the one? Not be the one, but could he prove that this offense kind of still revolves around him in some way, shape, or form? Right? Like, could he be the guy who has, I don't know, 15 plus carries, 20 plus carries? Right? I mean, he finished the season super strong last year, which was great on him. I think he finished the last 3 games. He had over 100 yards. So he clearly has a lot left in the tank. And I think the bringing in Doyle, what he did with the Bears last year, the role he played, now he's going to be calling plays for the Ravens the first time in his career. It's going to be really interesting to see how, he fits in with Lamar, but also too how Doyle kind of, brings in, Henry and what type of role he's going to play and whatnot. So that's all really exciting to see. And obviously, you guys touched on Hill to see if, can he establish himself as the premier running back too, right? It's all going to depend on him, what type of role he's going to play. And then, if Ali or maybe Randall emerge as well. So there's a lot of questions in that. But it's going to be fun to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody here knows. I think everybody, all the fans know that Adam Randall's for sure going to get opportunities because he's Steve Bisciotti's pick. Like, well, he wouldn't come down and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna pick this guy for him to just sit there and not get opportunities." But I mean, I think he's intriguing, even apart from Steve Bisciotti's aspect of it. He's a wide receiver that didn't really do that well as a wide receiver. That became a running back and killed it. Like that, he's a good dual threat back, and you need that. You need somebody that can do that similar thing like Derrick Henry, but be more efficient in the passing game, and that's Adam Randall. But again, we don't know how well or not well he's going to be able to acclimate to the NFL level. That's for any rookie always. We don't know. We have to see in training camp and preseason, but expect to see a lot of that, especially, Derrick Henry's older. We don't need to see him in preseason. We need to see these young guys and see what they can do and who's going to emerge. But yeah, very, very curious to see how everybody behind Derrick Henry shakes out. It's going to be exciting. And don't give the ball to somebody else when Derrick Henry is averaging over 5 yards a carry. What the hell are you doing? Let's not do that.
Such a trend. Such a trend.
I know, and it's the weirdest thing. Like, oh my god. Anyway, we don't.
We got him now. We're gonna do something.
They'll never expect this. Take Derrick Henry off the field. So now we have a bigger topic. I think one of the more intriguing camp battles that's going to take place is with the wide receivers. Again, we know who the guy at the top is. It's always going to be Zay Flowers because Zay Flowers is Zay Flowers. He's training right now with a bunch of other great receivers. Jalen Waddle, they're all on the field together, which is cool. Great to see that. But that being said, Jamar Chase, sorry, got a name drop because it was all a picture of them. Golden Feet, the trainer that trains wide receivers, they're all working together, which I think is really cool. Anyway, moving on. Zay Flowers is the guy at the top. We got Rashad Bateman. I have my issues with Rashad Bateman. I'm going to continue bringing them up until something changes my mind. But in my opinion, Rashad Bateman may not be the wide receiver 2 for long. I'll just say that. I could be way wrong. He could unlock some new level of himself under Declan Doyle, but we don't know yet. That being said, then things get a little, squirrely. Things are kind of up for grabs there, heading into the wide receiver 3 and beyond that. Devontae Walker has been getting all kinds of praise from coaching staff, from Zay Flowers, from Lamar Jackson, and this could be the year that he finally gets to break out. He hasn't really been given that chance to, so to speak. Now, this is your chance to take that third wide receiver role and run with it, figuratively and literally. And then you got, the guys that we keep talking about, Jacoby Lane, you got Elijah Surratt, LaJohntay Wester, as you just brought up earlier, Billy with his return skills, and then we can get into the guys beyond that. I don't mind if we don't. I know a lot of these guys are undrafted. I know a lot of these guys are going to be battling it out for playing time, and training camp is going to be like a whole mess of wide receivers flying around. But I think right now, the most curious aspect of what's going on in the wide receiver room is, will Rashad Bateman stay next to Zay Flowers, or will he be overtaken by one of these rookies? Which of these rookies are going to get that chance, as Jesse Minter already committed to giving one of them a big chance? Will they both be given that big chance? Because they both have the kind of skill set that I think is going to benefit this offense in a really significant way. Elijah Surratt is a contested catch guy, but he's more over the middle, kind of like yards at the carry punishing guy, but he's been used a little bit differently, as Jacoby Lane has as well. He's tall, he's lanky, he can catch the ball as well. He's that deep field guy, but they've been using him over the middle. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they factor into Declan Doyle's offense. And also, are they going to, again, outwork Walker? Are they going to outwork Bateman? We don't know. But I think this is going to be one of the most curious camp battles to watch out for, because there's a lot of young talent now, which is what the Ravens have needed. They need a wide receiver help for quite a bit here. Now they got it. With the potential for Walker to emerge, Lane and Surratt to emerge, they can push Bateman to be better, because if he doesn't be better, this is probably his last year of being given the chance to be a starter. So a lot of moving parts here, but I think a lot of promise and a lot of excitement in that wide receiver room for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first year in a long time for the Ravens. They haven't brought in a veteran receiver. You know, they've had Odell Beckham Jr., they had DeAndre Hopkins, you know, they've had the help there. And this year it seems like they trust Zay entirely. I don't think it was ever about not trusting Zay. I think it was just about giving him a reliable pair of hands, like proven reliable pair of hands. But now he is that. He has been there for 3 seasons. Well, this will be his fourth season, I think. So, oh, gosh, no, actually, is it more than that? Is this his fourth season?
I want to say
I
this is
think
his fourth.
he was signed in 2023, right?
I want to,
24, 25, 26. So this will be his fourth season.
yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and you know, I think now that he is the guy that's going to be bringing up. He doesn't need these guys around him, kind of encouraging him and learning because they didn't have that. They've never had, like we said, you know, the receivers have never been like the shining stars of the Ravens. It's usually the running backs, and so I'm excited to see who. I think that there is all to play for beneath Zay. I think that it could be anyone. Anyone can emerge. I think there's a great scope for Rashad Bateman to come back, and I've said that over and over again. I think that this is his year, and if he doesn't, then he will be I'm certain he'll be going somewhere else next year. Uh, but you know, like we said, they have made it very, very clear that these rookie receivers are going to get their chance. They will be getting opportunities. I just don't know exactly which one yet. But I am confident, just like we said throughout the weeks, that they can both come in and steal those slots, and that it's wide open for them because you know Devontae Walker has not had the scope to show off what he can do. What he has done on the field is great, you know, a couple touchdowns. And I think beyond that, like that's really all he's been called up to do. So maybe he'll get to stretch his skills a little bit further. And having built that chemistry with Lamar, maybe he's just going to trust him more. And maybe this year we will see him break out. But I can't tell. I can't tell. And I don't think we will tell until preseason. I think both Surratt and Lane are going to get some time there to kind of stretch their skills a little bit. But I have no idea how this is going to go because it's all to play for.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think outside of the offensive line, like the wide receiver room is kind of like the second biggest question mark. Like obviously Zay Flowers is there, but who's going to establish himself as the wide receiver too? There's talent there, but it's a lot of unproven talent, right? I mean, Walker's going to enter his third year. You know, is it his time? He's going to be given the opportunity, but is he going to step up and take that, right? And then you have Lane and you have Surratt, two guys who I think it's fair to say all three of us are kind of high on, right? They have the talent. They're young. Are they going to establish themselves right out the gate? Is one of them going to establish themselves right out the gate, right? And is one going to be the wide receiver two, and the other the wide receiver three, and maybe push out Walker and Bateman? Bateman's kind of being given an opportunity as well to establish himself as a wide receiver too. So, I mean, and also too, is Doyle going to kind of give them the opportunity to do it, right? Because I mean, we've seen in OTAs like Doyle's offense is a bit challenging, right? I mean, like, is Bateman, does he understand it? Does Walker understand it? Do the rookies understand it, right? I mean, this is a time right now with 2 weeks left before training camp to really hone in and see if they could, you know, kind of master the playbook in a way. Because, yeah, they may not be, let's say Lane is not maybe as talented as Walker, but if he understands the playbook, then, I mean, that's where he has the advantage, right? So, you know, there's a lot of question marks here, and although Walker and Bateman have been with the team, Lane and Surratt are kind of even with them in terms of learning that playbook and seeing if they could establish themselves as that. So that's another thing I'm looking at as well. So, I mean, there's a way there where they could certainly establish themselves. Any one of those four could establish themselves as a wide receiver too, because it's kind of new. And we'll see how they kind of play off Lamar. We'll see how they kind of play off the playbook as well. So these are certainly the things I'm looking for when it comes to that. And it's going to be really fun to see who kind of pans out and who kind of shines too in training camp, and then once the preseason games get rolling around.
Yeah, that's such an important point to mention, really, because obviously it has been one way for the entirety of these guys. You know, it's been the same way for Bateman and Devontae Walker. they're really on that level playing field with these rookies because they're being given a playbook for them. It's not like Bate and Tez have been, doing this up and down the field for the past 3 years. This is entirely new for everyone. And um, yeah, it's not something I thought about, but it's absolutely true that they are all on that same kind of ground. And I think that Zay is excited about it. He's spoken about it. He's spoken about Declan Williams' offense being really enthusiastic about, what his role is. And so yeah, no, I think it was a really good point to make.
Yeah, the other thing too to mention is Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers were also not participating in minicamp, and so that gave both Elijah Sarah and Jacoby Lane the chance to build that chemistry with Lamar Jackson, and he had nothing but great things to say about both of them. And again, Sarah pulled off a crazy catch, and so did the over the middle work with Jacoby Lane was well established as well. So that was their chance to really like separate themselves as well. Like, oh, cool. If the veterans aren't going to be here, then you take full advantage of that. And so that really gives them a leg up, on the ability to be able to be like, okay, Lamar like already kind of built something with them. Like, let's see, in training camp, he's going to trust them more and throw the ball to them more, as opposed to he wouldn't if they wouldn't have got that time to work with him, a little bit more in training camp. Obviously, they're rookies, so you have to see what the rookies can do regardless. But I just think that them building that little bit of chemistry with Lamar Jackson already is going to pay dividends for both of them. And again, it's going to be really curious to see like how they both factor into the offense and in which way, which formation, and they both might be used in games. They might trade off with one another, and obviously, you're going to see, which one of them is more effective, in what they do. And then that's obviously going to factor into more playing opportunities and more chances to be a starter and all that good stuff. So there's just a lot of excitement. I think for the first time in a while, there's a lot of excitement for the Ravens wide receiver room. There hasn't really been, like you had brought up, Billy, before. There's usually veterans, but it's like Odell Beckham. We know what Odell Beckham is now. No offense to him, but he's just not the player he once was. DeAndre Hopkins was just not really used as well as he could have been.
He was
But
great
again,
when he was here.
yeah, but I mean, like 2025 is just not the right benchmark season to look at
No.
because the entirety of the team was a mess. The offense was a mess. Everything was a mess. So you have this new change, the new front office, the new coaching staff, excuse me, and all these new players coming in, and now a chance to wipe that slate clean. Declan Doyle is running the offense. You get to see what he can do. Everybody's talking about how he's a genius and that he's 28 years old. He's got that young, dynamic mind. There's a chance that if he does really well and turns everything around, he might be a head coach next year. Anyway, the point being, all these working parts are now working in tandem, and you get to see that on the field coming up in a few weeks' time. Get to see like where's the wide receiver room really at. But it's just really exciting. It's really exciting because I think the young talent is now outweighing the fact that they would have had to gone and get a veteran player. That's not to
Well,
say.
yeah, it proves to them that they like the guys that they got and
Exactly.
they like what they see and they don't need to go shopping any further.
Exactly. That's not to say that they're not going to go and add Stephon Diggs, which I still think they should. But I'm just saying, like, right now they don't need to, in the sense of like, obviously, if they believe what they put together on the field in training camp, they're like, we're one piece away, and that piece is Stephon Diggs. They're going to go get Stephon Diggs. But right now, the current guys in their roster, the current guys in the building, in the wide receiver room, are very exciting.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think it's a reflection, like them sticking with their young guys and going young is a reflection on kind of the new regime, right? With Jesse Minter and Doyle, right? Like they clearly have a plan in place. They're certainly on the same page. And I think if it was a former regime, I think they probably would have signed already maybe a Diggs or something like that, right? So they could have that established guy. But I think they liked what they saw in OTAs. They liked what they saw in minicamp, and they're really looking forward to what they're going to see in training camp as well. So I think this is a great new step for the Ravens. I like the direction. I like the direction they're going in, and I'm really excited to see how it all plays out. And I think it will play out to what they expect.
Yeah. I think Lamar has also been a big part of bringing in those veterans in the past. So if he feels that it's not needed this year, like that's really encouraging because he'll definitely ask for what he needs. So it seems that he likes the guys that he has right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, he wouldn't say that unless he felt that, and he said both great things about the rookie receivers. You know, they're good. You know, so that's a good thing to say when you already got somebody like Zay Flowers in the building ready to go. You know what I mean? Like they've needed those receivers to match Zay Flowers' level, and it sounds like they have some guys that could potentially be that. So exciting! It's very exciting. We'll see. You know, like I said, training camp is here in a couple of weeks, pretty much ish, a little over a couple of weeks. And then the pads come
Yeah.
on and the meaningful football will happen and we will see where everything stands. But this has been Roundtable Ravens episode number 29. Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, please do all the social media things like subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Go to the Roundtable Ravens site, sign up, talk to us. We'll be there. Yeah, we will be back next week to talk more about the roster. We're going to be going through pretty much every position and doing exactly like this until training camp because there's not a whole lot going on right now. It's just training camp stuff. And yeah, but we're nearly there, people. We're a month away from preseason and then a month away from the regular season. So, you know, we're almost there. Football will be back very, very soon.